an old story in BC that glass fishing floats would wash up on our shorelines from Japan, and whenever we were exploring the beaches, we would sort of scan the high tide line for these.
Look at this.
And instead of finding glass fishing floats, we find plastic fishing floats and plastic bottles. From our basic understanding of the ocean, we knew that there was currents carrying those from Japan to British Columbia.
If we're getting Japan's garbage, we're getting China's garbage, we're getting Korea's garbage. Where's our garbage going, and what effect are our actions having on other people? We've got a pretty rare opportunity here to take 3 years out of our lives and go and look.
Go and do a circumnavigation of the globe on a sailboat. You know, a bit of an adventure and bring some awareness to ocean-borne garbage.
It's a common daydream to get on a boat and start sailing around the world, and 3 Vancouverites are making that dream a reality.
Here we go, cruising out of La Paz Harbor, starting off.
We're out here, man.
I got stuck with this guy now. It should be a good time.
We're gonna know how to sail?
Yeah, we gotta know how to sail everything.
Don't worry, boys. I read a book about sailing. We've got ropes, red ones, green ones, blue ones.
We got a few months of food, some surfboards, and yeah, we're heading south, so things are falling into place.
It's tough sometimes because you're programmed to go to university, get the job, make the money, buy the car, get the mortgage.
This trip started as 3 guys wanting to escape the rat race and, you know, wanting to get out there and have an adventure and sail around the world and surf remote beach breaks.
The whole idea of getting in my car every morning and driving to work is kind of become a bit foreign.
We got a special guest in the studio right now, Bryson. Welcome.
Thank you.
You were about to take off on one hell of an adventure.
Oh yeah, definitely pretty excited. We got a 3-year sailing trip. We're going to sail around the world.
The excursion you're going on, you're calling it Ocean Jibe?
Ocean Jibe, yeah.
So what does that mean?
A jibe is a downwind sailing term when you're changing the direction of the boat and the boom comes across the boat, and it can be very smooth, but if done incorrectly, it can be very dangerous. And I think it's fairly representative of the direction our Earth's taking, and us as a culture. We're going downwind in this screaming race to try and make more wealth when we actually need to turn this ship or our culture around and start to be more aware of what we're doing.
What are you guys doing?
Well, started off as a dream of the 3 of ours, myself, my brother Bryson, and good friend Hugh Patterson.
We call Ryan the steamroller because he decides he wants to do something, and he decides he wants to do a lot of things.
Born in Zimbabwe, grew up in South Africa, spent from like sort of 7 till age 20 in South Africa.
In many ways, they share the same ambitions and their same interests, but they're actually very different kids. I mean, Ryan is kind of focused and studious, and
studious, right?
Bryson is a mixture of a prof and a hooligan.
Ryan has always wanted to push boundaries, and Bryson, being 4 years younger, has nearly broken life, and nearly life and limb has been endangered because he tried to keep up.
So one of our big challenges with Bryson was keeping him out of harm's way until he developed some sense of self-preservation.
All our kids had sailing lessons, and Hugh was the least interested in the process of sailing. That was my impression.
Well, when Hugh was small, he was always busy. He was quite determined. He was quite a careful fellow. He always made sure he had a pad to jump down from.
Even when Hugh was quite young, he would carry his little safety pack with him.
Oh, that's right, he did, you're right.
A little packet with screwdrivers in it and a magnifying glass and other things that might come in useful in an emergency.
Grew up on the water sailing. My father has had boats in the family his whole life. I just thought I'd take sailing and take it to the next level and and go offshore. And when I met Ryan and Bryson at university, I sort of knew I'd found two guys that would share that same ambition.
We'd always dream about, how great it'd be to take a boat and sail into some remote South Pacific atoll and drop anchor and jump off the boat and paddle out on our surfboards.
It was now or never if we were going to go and, go on a big adventure, just the three of us, before marriage and kids and, before the career and the house payments and all that kind of stuff.
Get your life together. There you go. Oh. It's a pretty big lifestyle change from, going to work Monday to Friday for the past 3 years. We've sort of said it's going to be a 3-year trip, but who knows really? It might be 2 weeks. It might be, hopefully it'll be the rest of our lives. Probably my biggest worry is that we're not going to get along, really. That once we get out there, it's going to be different than what we thought, and we're going to be different people. And
we might all be hating each other in 6 months' time. Somebody suggested we all go to marriage counseling.
It's our last bit of money right here.
We've known each other for a long time, very personally. We've all lived together, we've traveled together. But you put 3 people on a 40-foot sailboat for 3 years, and there are going to be personal issues.
All good.
Sure, there are going to be boat issues, and we might snap and break things, but that can all be fixed and repaired and replaced. It just costs a couple bucks. But personal issues can stop our trip.
I didn't put 2 and 2 together that we'd still perhaps be together at this point when they would go away. So it was early on that he told me about it, and he was an extremist. That's what I loved about him, so it wasn't something I was concerned with at the beginning. Little did I know that would be a reality for us as a couple, that he would be going.
I've got a wonderful girl in my life, and we're going to definitely make it work. But who knows what 3 years afloat does to a person.
And he said, for 4 years we've been working for this trip, we've got the boat, and he said, and now I've not only got the job of my dreams, but I've met the girl of my dreams. What am I going to do? So, already before he left, it was set up. There were things he wanted to come back for.
About 2 months before Ryan left on the boat, after they had already purchased Khulula, Ryan proposed and told me that the reason he did so then was because he thought I was going to leave him if he just hopped on a boat and took off for 3 years.
You can't just ask somebody to marry you and then take off for 3 years. So she said that she'd wait 2 years.
I didn't think it was a good idea. What Bryson knew about sailing, he learned on a surfboard as far as I know.
But when I heard it was going to be 3 years, I thought, holy mackerel, this is a bit too long for a number of reasons. Well, you should be getting married and having children, not sailing the high seas forever.
I didn't really think it would really happen. And then I do remember the time when they started looking for the boat, and we looked at each other and we thought, you know what, these boys are going, they're going to do this.
Yeah, where did they get the money?
Inside, we have total chaos. Got to the boat a few hours ago, and I guess the enormity of the situation is upon us. There's a lot of work to do.
And we went down to visit them in La Paz, in Mexico, and I saw this beat-up old boat that really was sadly in need of some tender, loving care. And
I think we should replace that one.
So is that structural or what?
Yeah, half the wood in here is like that too.
Here, just buffing out the scratches, and we'll get the new name on there. Perfect.
Because Ryan and I grew up in South Africa, where Zulu is the local language. Khulula means to run free in Zulu.
I found Khulula after 2 weeks of looking, just wandering down the dock one day and saw a for sale sign on her.
And I phoned up the bank manager. I said, okay, send the transfer through right now. We were just like, oh my word, we're in, we're committed.
Oh shit.
I was proud that they wanted to do it. I was proud that they were doing it. I thought maybe they'd bitten off more than they could chew this time. So I was worried.
But after a while, I mean, you couldn't be scared forever.
We're working on some critical pieces of equipment right now, essential to the voyage.
Oh, we got that going. Yep. I think it's looking good. Oh! Well, we going, bro. Now we can go sailing. All right.
Oh, it's rigged! Ocean Jibe Expedition, day 1!
On it.
Khulula's stoked! We're about 40 miles off the coast of Cabo, as you can see here.
Where that little green boat in the bottom left?
There is about 40 nautical miles.
You just kind of think about, okay, now I got a boat. I don't know how to sail at all. Don't know if I'd recommend that to many other people.
Tonight's our first proper night sailing at sea.
We left it pretty late. The hurricane season starts pretty soon.
Weather changes are something that I'm quite scared of on the water. I'm scared of a critical failure on the boat, but we just exist in a state of denial that, you know, containers and logs and everything don't exist at night. You just got to believe that it's just not going to happen to you.
Just behind us. You altered course.
It is ridiculous how far away from anywhere we are.
The storms aren't really the worst part when you're in them. It's when they're about to hit you that's the worst part.
The Ocean Jibe expedition has got itself into a ridiculously stupid position.
When you're trying to outrun a hurricane with potential of up to 200 km/h winds, you put the engine on, doesn't matter where you are.
And this shouldn't be sensationalized or anything. This is a dumb place to be.
And here we are, only 150 miles away and running for our lives, like the idiots that we are.
And when Hugh said we're running for our lives, it's quite literally we're running for our fucking lives. Like over the last week, we've learned the meaning of terror. And we can't blame anyone else other than us.
We're gonna try and eat well, we're gonna have some sundowners, and we're gonna enjoy what could be our last night. And like, it sounds dramatic, but it's not even a joke. I wish it was. It's not.
They could not have been further away from help anywhere else on the planet than they were.
Last night, in the middle of it all, we're all taking probably 40-minute naps. And in the middle of one of my naps, I had the oddest dream ever. And in my dream, I was in this autumn fall park, leaves falling, kids playing in the leaves, with light classical music playing. And I just wandered around in it with Jess and a couple friends. And I woke up feeling completely calm.
And after that dream, I think I just knew we were going to be okay. Hurricane Cosme had headed up to the northwest, so we knew we were out of its way and we were in the clear.
And that makes me very, very happy.
Things are looking better this morning, so we'll get some food in us and some sleep, and
I'm gonna stay on this tack for another week.
Stay on this tack for another week.
How gorgeous is that? Wow. It is good to be alive.
Yeah, these Marquesas Islands are supposed to be coming up here pretty quick. Turned around and kind of looked in the sun and over the horizon and whack! I saw that. So pretty good wake up in the morning. And I saw this guy with his mustache, and that kind of brought it all down. But
I guess definitely one of the biggest moments of the trip was seeing the islands of the Marquesas appear over the horizon after being at sea for 24 days.
Holy cow. Didn't realize there was anything in this ocean except for water.
Yeah.
Apparently there's some islands too.
You don't really have that perspective until all of a sudden this island looms up over the horizon and you realize, wow, we actually did make it here.
That was their baptism of fire, you know. They managed to survive that, got the crew together and allowed them to, you know, to carry on with the trip, really, without all disappearing in their first landfall.
It's all just come home. I can't believe we bought a boat and sailed it here.
When you return to land after sailing for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, it's overwhelming.
Looks like there's quite a lot of garbage on this beach.
You hit this pristine, picture-perfect beach and it would just be covered in plastic.
We needed to come up with a scientific, repeatable method to look at garbage on beaches around the world. So we came up with the Ocean Jibe Garbage Study.
I'm standing right now on the reef of the Tuamotu atoll of Whakarawa.
Then I picked up a handful of sand. And in that handful of sand, there's flecks of green and pink and blue particles of plastic. And that's, like, for me, it's like, wow, there's plastic sand here.
So we take 100 meters of beach, of windward beach, and it's completely random. And we cordon that up, we pick up everything along that whole section of beach and we categorize it. And then we just take an inventory of that.
Sorry, Bryce, how much of this do we have? 45 large plastic pieces, 15 pop bottles, 3 large chunks of styrofoam, 30 pieces of line, 1 piece of rubber,
84 pop bottle caps, and another 10 random pieces of plastic.
We've been trying to find something with markings on that'll give us a good idea.
What country they use this recycling symbol in, because then they figure out where this came from.
How far has it traveled on these winds and these currents around the world? How long has it been in the ocean? To kind of get an idea of how these currents connect different continents and different people.
The ultimate goal is to get an idea of how garbage migrates around the world.
Wrap it, gold, treasure from the past.
Just like when we were little kids and we would find plastic bottles or glass bottles with messages on the beach that had come from some far-off land, this is just the same process that moves plastics and garbage around the world. And there's scientists using this simple method to track plastics.
Well, this is an example of a scientific device that's tossed into the water. The idea of a drift bottle study goes back hundreds, if not thousands of years of people putting things in the ocean and waiting for a while and seeing where they come up later. The bottles are telling us something about the pathways of the ocean currents. And one of the main pathways for crossing an ocean are the boundaries of the gyres.
There are 5 ocean gyres in the world. Gyres in the northern hemisphere rotate clockwise, while gyres in the southern hemisphere rotate counterclockwise.
And the drift bottles is but a tiny, tiny, tiny speck that tells us the story of where things will go when they are in the ocean.
Woo! This is what it's about. Adventuring.
Yes, I think there may be waves in this sheer area.
We're going to go through the Tuamotus, the Society Islands in Tahiti, through the Cook Island chain, Tonga, and then straight down to New Zealand.
Spinnaker up, doing 7-8 knots.
Yeah! When the weather's good and the wind is good, the boat's comfortable, we're all in good spirits. And then when the wind gets up, you know, things get a little bit uncomfortable. We have to work a little harder and pay more attention to stay safe. And you know, stress levels go up and it's harder to keep that good attitude on the boat.
You miss things about home and you miss people and you miss girlfriends. First day was really bad. Just did not want to be here, didn't want to be doing this. But then had some time to think and get my act together and realized I've got to enjoy the journey from each island to each island and not just look at the destination. It's hot today. Really, really hot.
When you're living in a fishbowl like that in a small place, parts of your personality and their personalities certainly come out.
Low point. You shut your mouths at that.
I'm not sure if I can say this or not, but we have what we call a what the fuck's up chats.
What, this one over here that's closed?
Yeah, that one.
Oh, I'm so angry! It wasn't even blocked! I knew it was you!
Yeah, I definitely am sorry.
Bryson's an idiot. It's never come down to fisticuffs or anything like that. We've developed a pretty good relationship with each other.
But these things happen, you know, and we work really well as a team, I think. Each of us complements each other pretty good.
Everything was new, everything was fresh, and you don't want to get jaded, you don't want to become that individual, you want to be as excited about every day as you can.
Oh, I hate Mondays. They're awful. Is it Monday today?
We are 40 miles or 45 miles away from New Zealand. The Ocean Jive expedition, we've made it.
I look back on that first passage now, and the leaking mast, the mildewy books, the filling up with water, the sponging the bilge every 4 hours. There were just so many things wrong with the boat. And we're in bliss. We're ignorant to the fact of how easy it could be.
All the girls are flying in to meet us, and we're going to be here until April or May next year. Boat's pretty much ready to go. We've got 2 new crew members this time. We've got Thea Rogerman and Jessica Kippen, both special ladies of myself and Bryson's. To all the ladies out there, Hugh Patterson, the intrepid explorer, is still unattached. So, cheers.
Those guys really had it dialed by the time I came on board. Jess and I were both pretty freaked out. For the week leading up to the departure, we kept saying, should we do this, or maybe we should fly and meet them, or I don't know, I think we should do this. It'd be a really good experience. If we don't do it now, we're never gonna do it. But, you know, we had to do it.
I had never been on a sailboat before. I postponed my schooling for a year so that I could go be a part of the experience. So I knew what he was talking about.
Really excited to have some female company on board.
The girls have already looked at it and just said, this looks like a guy's boat.
Ryan's definitely a strong personality, but you gotta love him, and I'm looking forward to spending the time with him on the boat.
Sailing an open ocean and being confident and comfortable to do that was a goal, and I think a year into the trip I can say that's been achieved. I was sure as nervous about leaving Mexico and sailing to the Marquesas, but now, you know, we're leaving within a few days from New Zealand, and you know, there's a few nerves, but I'm feeling pretty confident about the whole thing.
It's all going to be new. I don't know what to expect.
A little nervous about this first passage, but really excited to head towards Vanuatu and see some of the islands. And
I hope for some decent weather and no big gale force winds or anything to start me off.
You got there, Thea?
Bonamine, lifesaver.
What's Bonamine for?
For seasickness, which I've experienced in the last 24 hours.
But you fought through it.
Yeah, and now I'm on to Bonamine.
That's good.
When are you guys ready? I can give her.
The sailing under Spinnaker was awesome.
Go. Grind, Thea. How much more? Yeah. Okay, we're good. Yeah.
Smooth! Look at that! Sun was shining, and water was blue. It was great.
Well done, team.
Nice work, yeah. Good. Nice.
It was amazing. It was really incredible to be out there and not see any land. A few days after we left and after it was rough seas, it was calm, it was beautiful, we had the spinnaker out. Thea and I embraced it and had our G&Ts on the front.
Cheers! I'm feeling a little stiff back here.
You know, at times it felt like he was leaving me to go on this adventure, and that's a hard thing to overcome, but having been there and seen it and been a part of it, I could better understand, and it made me deal with everything a little bit better.
See land! That's Anatom.
Anatom?
The first island in 8 days.
Wow. The crew of the salty ship Khulula makes landfall after a week at sea.
The girls are jumping off when we get to Vanuatu, and a couple days later we go to Luganville and pick up our folks.
Just jump. Very elegant, Mum.
Not too bad, not too shabby for a mommy. Oh, that hurt. That hurt, didn't it?
No.
What's that called?
That's called a thigh slap.
The islands are certainly more aware of their garbage because often there's supply ships that bring supplies to these islands, but they don't take the garbage away.
So they can immediately see this kind of, if we pollute, it's going to pollute our beach.
So here's Ryan and a couple of the locals on Anajom Island in this very southern end of Vanuatu.
So you think this one comes from Vanuatu? No, from the ocean? Or? Will you help us? All of the garbage, all these little pieces, and put it there.
When we got here a couple days ago, I saw this dugout canoe on the beach, and it had a mast and sails on it.
Bye-bye.
I gave the camera to a guy on the beach, and we took it out, and wow, it was so cool sailing it around. He let me steer. I got to steer with the paddle on the back, and we just sailed back and forth across the bay and continue to have our minds blown by Vanuatu and all the experiences and amazing people that are here. Never feel soft about sailing a big fancy fiberglass boat with an engine when you've been in a sailing canoe.
They said to him, Dad, where do you want to go? And he said, I want to go somewhere where you cannot go by any other means except by a little boat.
And uninhabited. It was probably almost a pivotal moment where, you know, it was no longer me teaching them and then now looking after them.
You came here with some pretty specific goals. What do you reckon? You reckon you managed to succeed?
I reckon we've met him. This was it. This was the coral atoll. Just perfect.
I was so hugely impressed. That's what I brought back with me, was just all those people that populate this world that we know so little about.
Before we set out on this whole trip, I knew there were some islands in the Pacific and some places I wanted to go to. Like, I knew about Tahiti and I knew about Fiji, and I knew New Zealand was like somewhere down south. But I didn't know about all these other places. And then sailing through them all, you learn about all these cool places, and you get to visit a few, but you find out about so many more from other people that you want to see.
Finally, after crossing the Coral Sea, the Arafura Sea, the Torres Strait, we've reached Indo. So stoked. Let's go see what's going on.
Hari ini ombak small or banyak? Hari ini ombak is it small or
Ya,
big?
ya, dia tinggi. Sebentar air tolak naik.
When the tide?
Naik, ya. Naik air di tinggi gelombang ini.
Yeah. Ah.
Main ski?
Oh yeah.
Iya ini.
Okay. I think he says when the tide comes up, it gets big. Just yeah, that one actually broke pretty far from the rocks.
Really?
Well, it's probably 30 feet.
Do you think anybody's ridden this before?
Incredible, untouched waves that you wouldn't ever think would even exist in little coves and beaches.
Completely buggered. We've just been surfing all day. There's only 3 of us in this entire bay on 3 different waves.
Contemplating leaving because there's many more things to do before we have to leave Indonesia in a month or less.
And we took our plastic trash to shore and spoke to the locals and said, okay, what do you do with your trash? Firstly, because we need to get rid of ours. And secondly, because it's just interesting how different cultures deal with their own waste. They just throw everything in the ocean. In their mind, it's disappeared, and that's just the way it's been since the dawn of Indonesia. And it was fine when it was, coconut husks and bamboo fronds.
And they just don't see it as a problem. I know that in North America, we produce way more trash than they do per capita in Indonesia. It's just, we have the infrastructure to sweep it all away and take to landfills where you don't see it. So.
This is a huge problem. What can just one group of people do?
After Indonesia, there was a lot of quiet, pondering moments on the boat.
Cocos Keeling, not going to need that one for a while.
SV Khulula has made it to Bali.
That's when Bryson, Hugh, and myself, we all flew back from Bali to attend my wedding.
He came home in September, and Ryan was home for about a week, and then they flew back to Indonesia and continued on to Africa.
If I want to have kids, I'm gonna have to get on it. I think the key to marriage is just we've both got to be able to compromise. And in the last 2 weeks, Thea and I have each done some compromising.
So yeah, the wedding was great. Got myself a wife. I really like her. She's good. And now I'm back on the ocean.
Previously, it was we go and sail to a certain island because it had really good surf. But now we're sailing to a certain island because it's downwind of this country that is just terrible with garbage, and we want to see what's ended up on the beach.
This is the beautiful Cocos Keeling.
This place is so clean.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting. We should when we walk over the other side of the island on the windward side, what the beaches there look like. They're as clean as these.
How are we supposed to take an inventory of this? It's like this.
It's sobering, and it's embarrassment. It's a really hard one to rationalize.
We're totally overwhelmed by the amount of plastic and flip-flop sandals here on the east coast of the Cocos Keeling Atoll.
We couldn't look at 100 meters beach, so we took 10 meters of beach. And we quickly realized there was too much garbage for us to collect. So we're like, well, we'll pick up sandals and water bottles.
Look at this, I got at least 12 here. Dave's got some more. It's just discouraging. You almost just don't know what to do. I can't keep up with the tide. Like, as many, I keep picking them up and then they keep just getting washed in. 31. This is the 331 flip-flop that we found. And there's lots more. Uncountable, I would say. I was so focused on the flip-flops that none of us even saw the strange, long, brown things. You know what it is? It's bamboo. The smoking gun. Who would have thought? A biodegradable smoking gun. Why is bamboo the smoking gun? Because bamboo doesn't grow anywhere on Cocos Keeling Atoll. So it must have come across the ocean.
I really enjoyed that dialogue. That was good.
We were definitely aware of our impact on the marine environment, but we weren't that vociferous about it.
Cocos Keeling was first real opportunity we had to speak about the garbage studies we had been doing out of school and sort of with, for lack of a better word, authority. It was a perfect opportunity for us to start.
My name's Ryan. This is Bryson and Hugh.
Definitely did not have it dialed. We didn't have a PowerPoint presentation to lean back on, but it was important to us because it was, here was a community that was directly being impacted by plastic in the ocean.
And how you guys are very aware, because you are on a small island, you don't have lots of space to throw your garbage. So I think you guys are doing that.
So we're in the middle of the Indian Ocean and we're heading for Durban. And the Indian Ocean is bumpy and rough and wet.
I feel a change is coming soon.
The more into this plastic awareness culture we delved, the more we discovered that there are heaps of other organizations out there that are trying to bring awareness to the problem just like we are.
In the Indian Ocean, the flip-flop is like the shoe. It's a poor man's shoe. It costs $1. And when it breaks, they just leave it. And, you know, most discharge ends up in the sea. I thought, well, how can we get rid of the flotsam? And the children had the answer, because the children make their toys from flotsam and jetsam.
So they have told me that to clean the beach and doing the things like recycle.
So we were washing in the morning. In the afternoon, we are going into the workshop, and then the girls there teach us how to make things like bracelets and necklaces.
Giraffes, dolphins, lions, and other things.
It's not just a matter of making money. It also helps the community and the environment at large.
I know what we're doing is not going to clean everything, but it is going to make people more aware. Ideally, the people who buy our products become more aware. The women who actually collect the rubbish and make things become more aware, and everybody else involved becomes more aware of the plastic problem that we have in our oceans. In a way, it's an African solution to a global problem.
You meet some people and you hear from someone that they know of someone who's doing a really neat, like, local effort.
I met the Ocean Job guys through Wavescape. They contacted us and told us what their mission was and asked us if we could help organize something for them where they could speak to a few people and push their message through. I'm not going to make a big song and dance about the introduction, just to say the Ocean guys are here to give us a talk and a little bit of info about what they've been doing. So without further ado, over to Ryan. Okay. And after the talk, we sat down and had a nice chat, and we decided to do a beach cleanup.
Go on here. Vacation capital of Cape Town, Muizenberg Beach. We're going to give some boards away. They're going to give them to some underprivileged kids. Go surfing today.
We drop a proposal where we use surfing as a medium to better these kids' life.
Yes.
Successfully now, with the help of some of the men, we got all the boys into a school.
Wow. And I think a lot of the homes they come from will be broken, so they can learn a lot about the world from surfing, you know.
You think you're doing something pretty incredible, but then there are people like that who demanding no recognition, looking for nothing more than just to know they're making a difference in the world, and they are. And those are people who really get things done.
You got your board?
Yes.
I've never taken a surfing lesson before in my life, so this is smart. I should have done this years ago.
We took them up and down the beach, we cleaned the beach, and we kind of gave them an idea of a physical thing they could hold and show that, pick it up off the beach and you could show a kid and be like, this is the problem.
Do you have someone for your team? Can I be on your team? No?
We walked the one side of the beach all the way to the other side, just picking up the trash, and gave them prizes at the end of it. But at the end of it, they were just like, oh, this is so great, you know, I'm going to go and pick up the trash. And they were harassing people on the beach, and they were saying, yeah, you finished with that wrapper? You finished with it? Yeah, can I have it? Come on, can I have it?
You picked up all this garbage on the beach. Good work. Oh, here comes your friend. Look, he's got a lot too.
That kid that is so stoked and that you've reached and is on board and on your side now, wasn't on your side yesterday. And now he is, or she is, and she's stoked. We've reached the next island, you know?
We are currently driving into the second largest township in South Africa called Khulula. And we're going to go and do an ocean jibe presentation.
So we went into Khulula, this unplanned settlement just outside Cape Town, and talked to probably 200 African students.
Hi everyone, my name's Bryson Robinson, and this is my brother.
We knew we wanted to do our push because of garbage in the ocean and plastics in the ocean, but we didn't really have the exact message that we wanted to give to people. And then we heard about the gyre.
It's bigger than most people can comprehend, and it's in a place that you would never go.
So this is a quote. It was coined by a guy called Charles Moore. Everywhere he looks, plastic, debris, bottles, caps, wrappers, fragments, and it's been estimated to be the size of Texas. It's a little bit smaller than all of South Africa.
Something was amiss here, to be able to see in such a constant manner the detritus of civilization in an area that should be pristine, that was troubling.
It's almost a poster child for plastic in the ocean.
It's a huge garbage dump in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and all the winds get the surface currents of the ocean moving the same way, and they all kind of converge to the center, 1,000 miles of the coast of San Diego. And right there is where all the trash from the whole Pacific Ocean all converges.
Recognize the packaging and the products. Like if you want to reduce your waste, it's not done when you actually throw it away, it's when you buy it. And it helps us keep our beaches clean. So thank you for listening. And
It's February 10th. We're in Cape Town. We've been here 10 days, trying to leave.
Last year was quite hard being away from Thea from a day-to-day basis.
I was pretty ready to get going on our life together.
Well, it's always been the plan that I was going to do 2 out of the 3 years, sail as far as South Africa, and then get off and take a more of a, like an awareness, organizing the details type of role in the Ocean Jibe mission.
He really felt that he let them down in some way, and he'd flip between being really happy he was home to, you know, really thinking I should be there with them, maybe I should turn around and go back.
It's time to leave Cape Town. If you turn around, you can see about 100 plastic water bottles floating in as the tide comes in from the ocean.
Ryan Robertson is on firm ground here in Vancouver. You're taking a little break from it right now.
yeah, absolutely.
And he's in the studio. Thanks for coming in today.
Thanks for having me.
You missed the boat? Do you want to be out there right now?
Yeah, I miss the boat. Definitely do miss the boat, but it's nice to have a warm, hot shower every night.
It's been great to have him on shore because there's all these other things happening with the trip, like media and awareness issues, and that was always got kind of put by the wayside for us because we'd be at sea for a month.
It's been weird with Ryan not around. I think he's sad not to be here, but I think he's also excited.
Blue bottle on the port side. See it floating?
Because we've had the whole day to think about it.
Oh, our camera is not broken despite it almost getting thrown overboard. I don't know how far that recorded that, but... Each and every day we try and find something small to celebrate, to get excited about. Today, we have a big one. We're 0.1, 0.9, 0.8, 0.7, 0.5, 0.4, 0.2, 0.1. I'm in Cross Grange meantime. Woo!
My dad's on board. He's been with us for almost 3 weeks now. It's cool, it's fun, it's challenging. I realize that I'm becoming my father in some ways, and it's nowhere more evident than on the boat, because I guess that's where his influence over me has been the strongest. The things about him that are frustrating me, I also exhibit, and I realize that those same traits drive Bryson and Ryan crazy sometimes, so it's very revealing.
I bought this drum in the market in Cape Town. Much to the chagrin of the rest of the crew, I'm sure. I'm going to learn how to play this thing real good. Oh, I screwed up.
And we are going to try and find out where we are using this ancient piece of mariner's equipment. I'm sure Mike is just loving experience because he's done so much for us in the past in terms of lending us his boat. I think it's really special for Hugh to be able to spend that time with his dad.
That's when I really became very proud of them as a crew, you know, Bryson and Hugh and Ryan. I saw now how they'd been out there miles from anywhere, but really it's a very lonely place.
Welcome to the beautiful, sunny, coconut-fronted island of Sintalina.
And it's very rocky and steep, so there's really only one beach we could come to on the windward side to look for garbage.
As you can see, all along this top edge of this beach is these little bits of broken up plastic. Tiny little bits of broken up plastic, and it's everywhere along this beach. And this is part of the problem. How do you deal with that?
Plastics contain quite a few different compounds, and there's quite a few different kinds of plastics. I think if you want to look at how they harm systems, it's probably more from a physical point of view. You ingest plastic of the right size, and it causes problems in your gut. And that plastic can look like anything from little styrofoam balls to toothbrushes to, you name it.
Plastic doesn't biodegrade, it photodegrades, and that means that as it sits in the sun and gets beaten by UV light, it gets broken up into smaller and smaller pieces by wave action or rubbing against other pieces of plastic.
And so all these little microscopic pieces of plastic are now breaking off and sinking down into the top 5 meters.
The result is all these microscopic pieces of plastic in the food chain.
If you are what you eat, then we're starting to eat our own waste, and we're starting to eat our own plastic.
Well, you gotta find me a fishing lure. Ooh, I'm gonna make a fishing lure out of this.
What's most remarkable is the density of certain items, like toothbrushes. No one's sitting there on the beach brushing their teeth, right? They're doing that in their house, away from the ocean, and somehow that toothbrush is making its way into the ocean, so that's kind of remarkable.
In 5 or 6 days of fishing, we've had no luck. So we're gonna employ some different tactics. On St. Helena, on the beach where we did the garbage study, found lots of toothbrushes. We're gonna stick them together with a large hook and try and catch a fish. Here we have the Khulula special. Okay, it's going in, it's going in. Now we wait. I don't think we'll have to wait very long. We'll be rewarded. There are 3 things that make up a true sailor. You need to be able to grow a beard, which clearly I can't do. You need to have solid sailing skills, which I feel like I've achieved that. And the third thing is you need to have solid fishing skills as well.
So what do you got there?
I got a Coke bottle cap and a flip-flop and 2 rather large hooks. If you throw plastic in the ocean, fish think it's food and they eat it.
But it seems we've sighted land. I call it Fernando de Noronha, after my mother. Fernando! Here we come.
Today, we meet with the Tamar Project.
That's Monday, March 23rd. And the Tamar Project, they're the ones doing the turtle rehabilitation.
Because they do that neat study with turtles and garbage bags, plastic garbage bags.
When we were there, we were just lucky on a day they were tagging a turtle, so I got to release it back into the ocean. It was really cool just to hold it by its shell and feel its skin and how heavy it was and how strong it was. Plastic affects turtles more than any other animal in the ocean because they confuse it for jellyfish, their natural prey, and they eat it.
It's time we leave.
here on out, it's just Hugh and I sailing. We didn't convince anyone else to come join us.
The reality is that I'm 29 now, and if I want to have a kid, I don't want to be a super old dad.
We were both ready to start a family.
He's really stoked on that, and I'm stoked for him. I'm happy he's excited to go on to the next thing and do something more incredible with his life. Hugh and I keep on kind of trekking along here, get across this ocean. Neither of us are talking. We've talked to each other a lot, kind of. I've explored most topics. The appeal of being at sea had worn off.
Isn't it romantic though?
No, it's not.
I just want to be somewhere, do something other than sail.
People have taught us a lot about our garbage, you know, that they don't need to be taught, that we need to deal with our garbage in a better way, that we need to be aware of plastic.
But in the beginning that we come here then, we saw all those bottle mesh. It was really a big mesh. In the amount what we have seen, that we were figuring that was enough to build an island.
And what does it say exactly?
It says all plastic bottles with lid in the bag. Thank you.
I'm definitely pretty inspired by Ed and Sophie on their floating pop bottle island. And I want to build a pop bottle island now.
We needed a break.
Just the two of us for almost 8 months now, and I really can't wait to get home and see Jess.
4 months off was pretty key for us to kind of get stoked on it again, and also, like I said, learn more about what's going on in the greater picture of garbage and pollution on beaches.
Bryson was back in BC for a short amount of time, and we went up to Hornby Island, where we go every summer, and we went out for a walk one morning, and I turned around and he was on one knee and proposed, and he just asked me to marry him. I was happy to say yes, finally.
She understands why I need to finish this. This is a dream, something I've wanted to do my whole life, and if I left this purely just to go be with her, I think she would always wonder if she took something great away from me that kind of makes me who I am. We just got to keep on trucking here for another 6-8 months.
We've just successfully transited the Panama Canal, and we're in the Pacific Ocean once again.
That's the Bridge of the Americas right there. Shows when you're out of the canals and into the Pacific again. We are stoked. Very easy, and we are through and done.
We got a lot of sailing to do. It's been nice. The past 3-4 months have been really short distances up Central America.
That we'll be collecting nothing smaller than that sort of size.
We had a lot more time to meet local people and connect with local people doing conservation efforts, which has been really interesting.
It's been good, just Hugh and I. It's nowhere near as good as when Ryan was on the boat, because having 3 people was fantastic, but it's been absolutely incredible how Hugh's put up with me and my grouchiness when I get woken up late at night. I don't enjoy getting woken up late at night.
It was always my commitment to the Ocean Jibe cause to be on the boat full-time for the 2 years, and then come and take more of a backseat role, fly in and out, spend as much time on the boat as I can, but then also just start to build some of the awareness on land.
Hi, how are you? I'm Ryan. I'm Lisa. Nice to meet you.
I'm Lisa Gonzalez. I'm in charge of the national program in Nicaragua. We take care of all these areas. Today we are coming here to Ostional. Ostional is a very beautiful beach from the Pacific coast of Nicaragua.
Fui a la playa en Ostional. Claro. Claro.
Shows how long plastic survives. Probably like Achilles back in, ancient Greece, or something that's probably came over from ancient Greece.
I think we're so disconnected back home between our garbage. It gets taken away, disappears from our lives. But we don't see that feedback because it's gone.
After we walk home.
We're all out of power, so we got to wait for the generator to come here so we can get the computer and overhead projector working.
The largest garbage dump in the world is in the middle of the Pacific Ocean.
The ability to be able to go and talk to these kids has really changed us. I can see where a lot of the allure of becoming a teacher is. Maybe you pick up 5 pieces of garbage every time you go to the beach.
Cada vez que vayas a la playa, lleva tu bolsita para que recojas la basura que encontres y así vamos a tener.
Good question. It was incredible to see them make that jump. We explained the problem to them and they came back asking for solutions.
It's a real personal dilemma because you can't live in this day and age without plastics. And I think the average citizen, the average person could, without too much thought and no change to their personal lifestyle, cut their plastics by half.
We've done a lot of good ocean drive garbage stuff, but we've also been stuck on the boat for days because the wind's been howling. Wind's finally died.
Less talking to the camera, more getting the gear ready to go.
Rip down, it's about a mile down the coast. We rip down, get some waves. Now the wind's turning onshore. It's time for us to leave.
So this right here is one of the best parts of sailing. Hear that? No more engine. We're sailing.
Still single, ladies. Still single.
This is the best time of the day. The sun's rising. We've got a school of about 30 or 40 dolphins just sort of breaching and jumping in between us and the sunrise. The smell of fresh brewed coffee wafting out from the galley. It's a whole day ahead of us. It's awesome.
We'd love to hang out with Ry and get some more surf, considering he hasn't been on the boat that much and we haven't had that many opportunities. But weather dictates what we do and when we do it.
I'm flying back to Vancouver today. Thea and I have got a baby on the way. He is due on the 27th of April. The date today is the 18th of March. I don't think we've pushed it too close.
It took a big toll on him. He was pretty sad to leave. I mean, those are two of his best friends, so he's now back in Vancouver without them and feeling a little bit lost, I think.
You're not allowed to show this to Ryan until like a while, or even tell him, but I have my doubts that he's actually going to sail with us back from Hawaii, because he's going to have like a 5-month-old kid. I want this, like the last 6 months, to last as long as possible, so I'm trying to enjoy them.
We're starting to make our way up into the Sea of Cortez on our way back to La Paz to finish the circumnavigation part of this trip. It's pretty crazy because we're only 250 miles from La Paz now.
After almost 3 years, usually at the end of a trip, it seems like the time flew by. Not this time. It seems like a long time ago. And we didn't really know much by then, and there's not much else to do.
Ocean Jibe Expedition, Day 1.
The 9 months while Thea was pregnant, there was a lot of trepidation. I was thinking, my word, my life's going to change. This is scary. I'm totally not ready to be a dad. But after it happens, it's so natural. And it's, yeah, I'm stoked. He's very, very cool.
We definitely are not the same people as we were when we left. I would say we're probably a little more practical, a little less idealistic.
How old are the kids that we're going to be speaking to?
About 11, 12 years old.
Okay.
They're in secondary school.
Buenos dias, me llamo Hugh y mi amigo Bryson. And that's about as much Spanish I know. So we'll carry on from here to English. You know, there's a lot of groups that are doing some really good, solid research on the gyre, so we need to learn what our role can be. It serves as a concentration point, a place where these currents and winds bring all the trash together, and it's known as the North Pacific Gyre, or the Pacific Garbage Patch.
That's where you might find your greatest accumulations of plastics in the future.
Surfrider is a nonprofit, all-volunteer, environmental, grassroots, environmental conservation organization. Did I say environmental twice, I think? Dedicated to the protection and enjoyment of the oceans, waves, and beaches for all people. When I was a kid, I considered myself an environmentalist, but you know, you had to be, in those days, either join the Sierra Club or you're an armchair environmentalist. You know, if you really wanted to do something, there was no other group to activate with or to plug into. And it's nice the Surfrider, at least for me, came around in '84. We have a plastics reduction coalition is going, which handles a lot of our litigation and legal strategy and handling, you know, petitioning and trying to pass laws against single-use plastic, that kind of thing. So, well, as you can see with this beach cleanup, I think they had 100 people turn out today.
You guys have been doing beach cleanups for so long. You gave us kind of a background, a framework to build it around.
I remember when you came to town thinking, here's Ocean Jibe, Ocean Jibe. I'm thinking, who are these guys? They want to go on a trip, and can we go? No, we can't go. But you're going to travel around the world, you're going to surf, and you're going to bring awareness to trash problems. And we're not arguing if there is a problem. There is a problem. Now, where's the solution? Let's move forward. It's pretty energizing. Every chapter in the world has found that people are really excited about this, and it's that platform we were talking about before. When I didn't have someplace to go and I was, you know, a young environmentalist, now this has become a magnet, which is real good. And it's hopefully we're going to put the kibosh on the source.
You know, you can clean up the results until you're blue in the face, but it's just going to keep coming back. Like the Great Pacific Gyre, apparently, according to Charles Moore of the Khulula Foundation, has doubled in the last 8 years.
Did you bring the boat back from Australia yourself? Or?
Yeah, I want to tell you a little bit about attaching the flow meter to the net.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
We emailed him a few times. He's an elusive man to get hold of. And when we were in San Diego, we drove up for the day to meet him. He gave us the manta trawl and
through the lip there and then back. This is short bridle, short on one side, long on the other, so you can. Is made to tow away from the wake of the boat.
Oh, okay,
you know?
kind of self-steers
All
itself.
right, yeah.
How many times have you been out to the gyre?
10.
10 times, hey?
Yeah.
Starting when you were coming back from a trip?
1997, yeah.
Like, where should we be going exactly?
Let's put it this way, you're not going to have any trouble finding garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can...
Like, is there an area that hasn't been?
Oh, I gave him the coordinates, well, I said 35, 140.
We have a manta troll, which is kind of a glorified sieve bag with a collection bottle on the end, and we drag it off our spinnaker pole off the non-sailing side of the boat, the non-powered up side, and we're using it to analyze the amount of plastic to marine life ratio in the North Pacific Gyre. Over.
It's exciting because now we're going to actually have some sort of scientific quantification of what's in there. The two most poignant moments for me for looking at plastic on this trip were when we picked up the sand in Whakarawa, and you can see little bits of plastic in it, and then when we first did a trawl sailing from San Diego to Maui and opened it up and saw all those little bits of plastic. Wow!
Check this out.
It looked like I didn't see anything.
I didn't see anything when we were trawling.
It's not the big stuff that is remarkable, it's a little bit. It's just crazy because it's this tiny little strip of water we're trolling through in this vast desert of ocean.
We did our first 2 garbage trawls of the trip, and as expected we found a lot of plastic.
There's enough that you're actually picking it up, over.
Copy that, copy that.
Like one more sample today, and then we're going to go sailing again.
Because it's our day-to-day life right now, I don't think I can step away from it and look at the whole thing and say, this is who I was and this is who I am now. But I do know I've got a new understanding of myself, and that comes from, you know, dealing with the elements, dealing with the mental games of being at sea and learning from new cultures, and also living in a small place.
How many days did it take us? It took us 17 days to get from San Diego to Maui. It's looking like a couple more hours.
Bygone road.
We're looking at one more major passage and then we're home. If I didn't have Jess to go back to, I'd definitely be tempted to take a left instead of a right and go down to Fanning and to Palmyra.
Generally, when we leave on a long passage, I've always been very nervous. I get a lot of butterflies and an upset stomach, and I wouldn't be able to sleep for a couple nights well, and you have so many things going through your mind. But always it seems as soon as we untie the dock lines or pull up the anchor, we actually leave, I always start to feel better.
We're going home. Yeah, but the crazy thing is not just the sailing for 3 weeks, because we've done that before, but it's like we're going to sail for 3 weeks, and then we're going to be home.
Wow, that is stunning. Here's to you, Rai. He was always the guy who wanted the morning shift. This was his favorite time to be awake and watching the world come into light, so see you soon, bro.
We're getting to the edge of the Pacific Gyre, the area that's supposed to have such a high concentration of plastic in the Pacific. But it looks like really pretty much any other piece of ocean anywhere else in the world.
There's definitely a lot of things floating in there. There are. I don't know if it's edible things, I don't know if it's natural, or if we are starting to get into the gyre. But you do see it in all the different levels. Ooh, look at that. There's a lot of plastic in here. You can see in this sample there's definitely a higher percentage of plastic to living stuff. The infamous North Pacific gyre is quite definitely a large high pressure. This is the calmest, flattest ocean I've seen for a long time. We're about 1,100 nautical miles from Canada and about 1,100 nautical miles from Maui. We could spend 2 weeks bobbing around here, 3 weeks, a month, just waiting for wind if the engine packed up. We don't really have food or water for that. I gotta go pull our garbage trawl out. And it was pretty astounding to see how much plastic we found. It was definitely scary, and it definitely did some justice to the stories you hear. The blue things look like some sort of sea lice, but you can see the big bits of white, like that one, that one. We've been motoring all day, and tomorrow we're halfway. We're coming home. Over.
Is this river dance? Oh, there's something swimming around me.
Okay, we're in neutral. We're just about across the 49th parallel and into what we would dub Canadian waters. Fog came in yesterday. It is very cold. You can smell the air, that cold, frigid coastal air definitely starts to smell like home. But definitely feeling the need for a little bit of space after 17 days at sea. The sailing, the sail changes, the actual act of sailing across the oceans isn't what's difficult. It's to be able to control your mind and keep yourself positive and stoked all the time. And it's just little things, it's not things that matter. It's just silly little things. We've just been living on top of each other for 2.5 weeks here. It's easy to get jaded and just want them to end and kind of try and just wish the days away, but it's important to try and take this time to remember that, you know, the trip's coming to an end.
I'm gonna check the abstention!
I think that the thing is it's never over till it's over, and then that landfall clearly could have been one of the most tricky parts of the trip on the west coast of the island. I mean, many people have run into trouble in that situation.
So we're 80 miles away from Winter Harbor. We've still got about 8 gallons of fuel left, so we'll motor till we have 2 left, and then we'll just wait for the wind. Over. We were at sea for 21 days. Did 3,200 nautical miles.
Yeah. It looks like we're about to get out of it real fast.
Yeah, I think we're about to run out of wind. And there was just like, poof, out of the fog.
Yeah, bam, fog, wind, over.
And it must have been a pretty incredible view for the fishermen to see this sailboat with all its sails come just flying out of the fog straight into their casual little fishing operation they had. We had left Hawaii with all its crystal clear blue water and white sand beaches and palm trees.
Wow.
We're home. We're not in some isolated atoll. We're not somewhere completely new. We're home. And it's a bit of a shocker, I must say. It definitely brought home the fact that 3.5 years is coming to an end very quickly. It's going to take a while to figure out what you do when you're home and you're done doing what we've been doing. I don't know what you do.
It smells so good here. It's like, oh, you can smell the fall time, the end of summer. Like the salmon berries and the blackberries and the like earth and ocean and
just another romantic isolated spot with Hugh and Bryson.
For Hugh and Bryson to watch the sunset. Holy fuck, we need more people! Oh my god. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beaten up old warhorse, but still working.
Play hunting from Tatchu Adventures picked us up, and it was nice enough to drive all the way down the inlet. And come and give us a ride, Clay. Thanks very much.
Yeah, no problem. Jump off!
Now, getting on the boat in Vancouver Island, I showed up there and I couldn't believe that Khulula was on the west coast of Vancouver Island. These are the waters that we used to sail all the way through university, and shores and stuff that we're very, very familiar with. And to be here on the own boat with your mates, where, like, it's the dream that we all dreamed of and the whole reason why we started.
You don't think we should just put in here and walk the beach? I'm not opposed to that. We might find treasures.
Yeah, exactly. I think we should do that.
I think we're going to go around these 2 points to the other side, so it's more west facing to pick up garbage. Here we're too hidden away from the main.
You know, we've been around the whole world, and we've looked at beaches all over the world, but we came back and ran into more of the same thing. And it just shows that the problem's just as bad back home. You know, we can look and we can say, oh, it's in Cocos Keeling, it's in Bakarawa, it's in Mauritius, it's all on the beaches of Costa Rica, but no, it's right here on our own beaches too. That was one giant fishing boat.
You can't exist in this modern society without some sort of level of consumption, but you can make, you know, small changes and big changes to reduce the amount of consumption.
You can't lay blame anywhere, I don't think. I think we've all just got to open our eyes and look around and learn from other people who do know a little more. Over the past 3 years, we've definitely talked to some experts and gleaned a bit of knowledge. And I hope, you know, these lessons we've learned don't diminish once we get home. You know, they will always be with us.
And as a scientist, my answer is always, I don't want you to believe anything. That's not what I'm asking. What I'm asking is for you to look with your own eyes and do your own research and make your own judgment on it. And in the case of plastics, it's really quite easy. Go to a beach, go to any beach.
We just found 11 fishing floats on a 100-meter section of beach. So, you know, average, if you do a very rough average of 1 per 10 meters, multiplied by the perimeter of the coastline, the exposed areas, that is a lot. There must be thousands and thousands and thousands of fishing floats along this coast.
That final 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, all the way down the west coast of the island was just incredible. Being in the comfort of Khulula, you know, looking at all the names of all the anchorages that we've been around the world.
Time to update the mast. It's getting pretty long. Friends we've had on the boat, we invite them, if they have a good quote, something that's spoken to them, to write it on the mast. Muchos pocos hacen un mucho, meaning lots of little things make a big one. How are we doing down there, right? We're in Hot Springs Cove, and it's a stunning zone, and it's good because Jess is coming. Yeah, she'll be here in a couple hours, which I'm quite excited about.
I know how stoked I was every time I saw Theo.
You know, your heart's beating and you're nervous, and then you see them and you haven't seen them for so long that it's like, do I know you? It's that first moment of kind of, I know I love you. I'm so excited to see you, but I'm a little bit nervous because it's been so long since we've, you know, hugged or kissed or anything. So
come on, Jess.
Oh, Jess. Oh, don't worry, she doesn't look cold at all.
No, come on, come on.
Well, I think my heart might stop.
No, it'll be fine.
Just do it.
1, 2, 3, jump. Come on!
How was that?
Not that bad.
I love his excitement and his desire for adventure and including everybody in his adventures.
Oh, that was so cool! Woo! Yeah! Oh my goodness! What the hell is he doing?
One of the greatest days of my life. It was super fantastic.
Spent the last couple of days thinking a lot about when we get home and tying Khulula up for the last time to the dock and unpacking all our belongings and taking the pictures off the walls and what's that going to feel like? How are we going to react to just walking away to everything? I'm particularly very lucky to have two people, Hugh and Ryan, to kind of keep me through this. I knew nothing. And Hugh and Ryan took me on and taught me how to sail, and they dealt with me when I was so seasick I couldn't even write or read or do anything. And we went through some absolute terrible times when I was quite sure I might die.
We have put off a lot of things from being on a boat for 3 years, and it's exciting to think about the possibilities of other things to do in life.
It's kind of like finishing final exams at the end of university. You write your final exam and there's this, it's almost like a huge anticlimax.
I don't know, I guess I do believe we did it. It's pretty amazing that we actually talked about it and did it. But we started talking about it like 7 or 8 years ago. I actually managed to do it.
We achieved something that I didn't think was possible for three young guys. Hugh and I finished the whole circumnavigation, got all the way around the world. I don't think many people actually believed we'd get that far.
I think it's gonna be a little bit sad waking up tomorrow morning and not getting on the boat and going somewhere.
She's treated us well, the mast is still standing, all of our friendships are still intact, my brother is still my best friend. Hugh is still my next best friend. We know each other better than probably any group of friends has known each other before in their lives. It's just a good adventure.
We just snapped the forestay. Hugh was downstairs making a cup of tea and he heard one noise. He's like, I think we hit something.
When you're at sea and you're thinking, oh my goodness, what is the worst thing that could happen right now? Oh yeah, you snap your forestay and you got high potential thereafter, if you don't notice it straight away, of losing your mast.
That's so scary. We'll just slowly poke our way into Vancouver here and
well, this is our buddy Dave Abercrombie. He's actually going to come right over the top of us over here, flying in his float plane.
Honestly, there's a sense that I should be more excited than I am for all these people that are here. But I'm like, this party on the dock is not the culmination of the 3.5 years for me. The sort of the culmination of the trip for me has been the last 2 weeks coming down the island.
Guy and Kira sailed their boat out, and Sam and Ian came out in their little boat. Dad and Mom and everyone in the family was all there waiting.
Wow, this is quite a party, man.
There's Mom. Has Dad got a vuvuzela?
Yeah, of course. Hubert, get out here!
It was just amazing to have all of their friends and family who had never even seen Khulula in person before to be standing on the water's edge waiting for them to come in, and the three of them pulling up so proud and, you know, accomplished sailors was really an exciting moment.
There we go. And then just beyond us, all the boats. There you go, Sam. And then pull really hard on it, Sam.
I think it was a great validation to them of their dreams, and not many people do follow them through like that, and that's a huge accomplishment. So I'm very proud of them for doing that. Yeah, all of them, and the fact that they're still really good friends. I mean, it was a big achievement.
So, just think 3 years ago. 3 years ago, okay? La Paz. That was scary. I think who was scared? Is you or me?
We were all scared. We had no idea. Well, I was too silly to be scared. I didn't know enough to be scared.
You were scared. You were scared.
Well,
hey, what's going on?
You can do anything you want to do. You know, your parents tell you that, but you see three guys like Ryan, Bryson, and Hugh decide that they have a plan and follow through with it. That's huge. I mean, people don't do that every day.
pretty incredible that if you keep making those small steps towards your goal, you can achieve it. Anyone can get there.
Am I a grown up? I don't know. I don't even know if I consider myself a sailor yet. Yeah, there's a lot of things going to go on. I can get married next year. I've got a PhD to finish. I'm moving to Montreal.
It made us so much stronger because we know each other on all different levels, and yeah, we worked it. We worked the system. We got it.
Wow!
It's too easy to be critical, too easy to be skeptical. Rather just give everything you can to help people to make their goals a reality.
I'm just looking for ways in my life that I can live a little bit more responsibly and do interesting and exciting things.
It's the anticipation that holds everybody back, and it's these fictitious obstacles that people it's just human nature to build up in your mind.
So, Glen Line North, school presentation here, coming to talk to the school. They got a big project on oceans coming up, and the beautiful thing about this school is they're right on the beach, so we're going to be able to do a beach cleanup at the end.
We really think our story of sun, surf, and sailing really helps us engage with the kids so that they're really listening when we start talking about plastics in our ocean. That's how many pop bottles are made in America every 5 minutes. That many. That's 2 million.
Change has got to be driven by individuals. It's got to be done by individuals on a daily basis, making decisions in their lives, and then also pushing their government to make changes.
You guys are ready to go. Look at all the gumboots. I love it. You got your buckets. You got some bits and pieces. That looks like a old piece of fishing equipment. Now zombie slayer.
We visited countless beaches around the world and did between 50 and 75 actual documented garbage studies.
Little things, but sometimes it can make a big difference. Like, that could have been someone animal's lunch. We don't use plastic bags anymore because it's bad. Like metal water bottles instead of using plastic water bottles every day.
It feels really good to kind of help out the environment with kind of cleaning up the beach. I find that's really important to us, yeah.
If we get down there and we push off from the dock, then it'll have been a success.
change is coming soon. 'Cause if it don't, I'm gonna stay upon this floor on which I lay. How'd it go below the line that separates some things that I cannot define? It came a cold rush up my spine, and I'm feeling mighty fine. I feel it tearing apart my heart, dreaming of things that form and then fall apart. No, I don't know where it's going to, but I know where it's coming from. It's coming from the part of me that's not easily